Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? It's Stormy B-Man, and I am live and on the move. Shout out to my brother, Junior the Truth. This is a Stormy B-Man quick live while I do my commute in the AM. Salute to everybody out there. Salute to the mighty LDBC. This is where I wanted to speak about something that I was listening to a little while ago coming out of the UK. Those guys that are on Talk Sport Boxing, glazing Moses ITAUMA. ITAUMA is a young heavyweight hopeful over there in the UK, someone that they think is going to be the next best thing, you know? But I'm sorry, people, but I don't see it. I don't see it, and that's okay. You know, people can have their opinions, like I might have mine. But to a certain degree, you have to have some responsibility when you speak on the fighters and you're telling the people what you think of them, you know? There's a lot of unrealistic value being placed on fighters just because you want stars. And it seems to me over in the UK, they take more pride and interest in someone being a star as opposed to someone being very good. And then if someone has the potential to be great, they're anointing before a person has gone through the process to let you know that they've graduated in levels of accomplishment to be considered great. It's very frustrating, and another one of the reasons why I've pulled back. But this live is just to speak on that, this notion that these guys have. And you know, they're on the airwaves and people kind of listen to them and respect them because they are on the airwaves. Some of them are former fighters. Some of them have always covered the sport. And some of them are just new to this whole social media thing where they have a presence now and a following, and people take stock in what's being said. And if you're not going to be responsible in that, then it really all goes to the trash bin, because there should be accountability. One of those guys said on that show this morning that he feels that Moses ITAUMA is the best that he has seen since Muhammad Ali. Really? Are you kidding? Muhammad Ali? I mean, you couldn't even go back to AJ, or you couldn't go back to Bruno, and I'm talking about the UK fighters, by the way, or even Lennox Lewis or whatever, who was really the most achieved fighter with a UK background. It's funny how they don't even talk about Lewis, and I think it's because there's some type of cultural bias there with him that they don't want to recognize him. But Lennox has been the most achieved heavyweight over the last 30 years, even over the Klitschko brothers, even over Fury, even over Evander Holyfield, whatever. It's like, really, are you really going to just skip over all of that achievement and say that Moses is the best you've seen since Ali? Are you crazy? But see, this is another reason why not to listen to that stuff. Now, I had it on. It's not like I tune in and listen. Oh, let me, I'm faithfully following. No, I listen because I want to get an ear to the ground of things that's being said or whatever. And I'm able to have discernment and pick out of what they're saying what may be viable and what is really useless. And a lot of what they were saying, guys, is not viable at all. Moses ITAUMA doesn't even have 20 fights yet. We have a young heavyweight hopeful over here fighting out of the U.S. in Demazian Van Houter, who really looks like he has potential. He's going through the paces of developing and everything, and he's developing rapidly, because just what it was about a little 3 years ago, Demazian was 154 pounds, and now he's a 230-pound heavyweight, and he grew. It's not like, oh, he got fat or something like that. Is a young man that is accomplished, and he's accomplishing, and it's great to see the trajectory. Now, will he be heavyweight champion of the world? We are going to find that out as he progresses. However, with ITAUMA, just because he sparred some of their guys, just because he has, had some nice knockouts, and according to what they say about him, when he was boxing in the amateurs, he was doing well. Okay, that's fine. But dude, he ain't even been hit in a fight yet. Do you remember when we had Edgar Berlanga, who had a decent amateur career, and when he started out his professional career, he had like 16 straight first-round knockouts. And then reality kicked in, the real world of boxing. Now, does that make Berlanga not a good fighter? No, it doesn't. However, if you were jaded by the knockouts and what was achieved in those first 16 fights or so, now you're going to be looking at, can he make adjustments? Is his development arc going to continue, or will he plateau? It's that kind of thing that you would have to consider. Salute to Del Riv in the building. Appreciate you out there, Del Riv. Good morning. Okay, we got Jermaine Jubilee out there. Salute to you. Christy Light Hua. Good morning. And then we got Derek Gaines in the building. Salute, Derek Gaines. Yeah. So, but to say he's the best you've seen since Muhammad Ali, do you know how many? Muhammad Ali retired in 1980. How many heavyweight titleists, champions, and perennial contenders have there been that have shown either flashes of greatness, potential, who have achieved greatness and respectability in the sport? I mean, since Ali, there have been a handful who have achieved the highest of the heights, and everyone else in the thereafter, there are names that you can go through, but Moses ITAUMA at 22 years old is not the best since Ali. That is irrational, it's irresponsible, it's ignorant to come out with that type of sentiment. And I know you want to endorse your own. I know that you want to give a space of consideration and map out that you want to see your high hopes for this young man reach that pinnacle, but he's nowhere close to that yet. He has a fight coming up against Filip Hrgovic, in which they've now thrown one of the vacated titles by Alexander Usyk into there. So the winner of that fight somehow, some way is now going to be a heavyweight titleist, even without having faced the type of opposition and challenges that one may want to go through before acquiring a title. Which is why I've always maintained you have titleists and then you have champions. Champions reign. If you have defended a world title more than 2 times, you're a champion because you have carved out your space and you're reigning. You're the reigning guy. If you achieved a title that you fought another guy for that was vacated, you're a titleist. You now have to defend that title. And also what becomes a part of defending the title, it's who you're defending against. You can't just continue to pick cab drivers and guys who serve drinks at the bar and all of that. You have to fight guys who have been waiting for their shot. Which is why what Usyk did is such a despicable act. He avoided fighting the interim titleists for his once undisputed and then unified crowns. And then when it became a crucial thing that it's time for him to defend against a number 1 contender, not named Joshua, a fighter that is not a bag of money, not named Tyson Fury, and a pushover in Daniel Dubois, you want to vacate the title instead of facing that type of opposition. Because remember, though he did come up from cruiserweight, there has still been selected opponents that Usyk has faced. And what's worse of it all is this. Usyk, with his boxing ability, has shown to be better than some of those men that were at the top who are now former titleists, and they had been glazed by the media as well. AJ and Fury, I'm talking about. He kind of beat both of them twice handily. But there are other young fighters out there whom he could test the waters against, who are hungry, who are capable and have ambition and desire. He hasn't faced those guys. So what are we doing? You're going to take a guy like Moses ITAUMA, who, yeah, if you wanted to put him in there against Usyk for one of those titles. The Hrgovic challenge is going to be okay, but I do believe that Hrgovic is easy to hit, easy to cut, and is the type of guy who's not going to go down easy, but I look at him as being a tailor-made fighter for Hrgovic. The only department where excuse me, the only department where I'd question Moses ITAUMA against Hrgovic is he doesn't have a great deal of professional experience, but this is why you fight certain fights so that you can gain. If Hrgovic is able to endure anything he has, because at heavyweight, it takes one punch, right? But let's just say Hrgovic, who has shown a solid chin, doesn't cut and is in the fight, and Moses is taken into a situation of where there's resistance. Then we'll see and find out more about Moses. But until that happens, you know, you just have to raise an eyebrow to what's presently going on. I'm not hating on the young man. I'm not. But I do know that there's work to be done. And boxing is now such misrepresented. It's like you're not going to see what you hope to see. You're not going to see a great deal of that. You're going to see what they decide to serve up to you. And what they are serving in this present era, I can't even say what the purpose is, because there's a lot of money being thrown around for matchups and events and things of that nature. But I really can't see what the agenda is. I can't, because it's so insidious that as you're looking at the state of the game, you kind of question, like, why are you doing this, or why is that the reaction, or whatever. And it's like, this is crazy, man. And something has to give. In my regard, what has given is the fact that I no longer want to cover the sport, want to, break down videos and things like that, because it's poor. It's really bad. And at the end of the day, what we're seeing is, like, let's say you had Coca-Cola, right? Now, you'll have some knockoffs, right? Cola, Big Jim's Cola, Zany Z's Cola, all of this stuff. Those are knockoffs of a Coca-Cola, right? But it's not Coca-Cola. And when you taste it, it has a little fizz to it. It might be a little sweet or whatever, but it doesn't have that chemical taste that the Coca-Cola has. So what you're looking at is just watered down soda. It's not that prime stuff. When you have a professional sport, you don't want to water it down. You want to always make sure that you're giving the people something prime, because that's what's going to thrive. That's what the people will feel for, and they'll come back and they'll spend their money. They'll ask, can we see this one next? Can we do, and get involved. But when you're running a sham, eventually time runs out. And I think boxing has exercised all of what they do, and it's just pure, mere sham now. That's what it is. And it's very unfortunate, because there are a number of fighters out there who you don't even see that the world would really embrace if they were put on Front Street instead of all of this foolishness. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Benjamin Harrington, I see you. Adrian Viet, good morning to you. DOG, G215, good morning. And Del Real says, unfortunately, you're right. And these are not the kind of things I want to be right about. What I would like to be right about is the fact that, I can see on the horizon something is happening and we're getting ready to experience some really good stuff. But that's not necessarily the case. It's not. And that's unfortunate. Like you heard me mention Demazian. That young man, you don't hear a lot of people talking about him right now, and that's okay, because as he goes under the radar and he develops and becomes better and better, by the time you start hearing his name, it's going to be people already ready to avoid him. You know what I mean? 4-ounce Sniper, salute to you. Good morning. Yeah, so that's okay. And you're going to have that. But this was the most, it wasn't the most, but it was one of the most recent idiotic remarks that I've heard. Them saying that Moses ITAUMA is the best that they've seen since Muhammad Ali. Where? Do you know when Ali arrived on the scene, he broke ground as something that hadn't been really seen in the heavyweight division before, with a combination of hand speed, foot speed, movement, the ability to be evasive, the ability to punch with snap speed and power with accuracy. It was all rolled up into one. And they hadn't seen anything like that. And because he talked and had a charismatic personality, you know, people would want to see him get beaten up. And of course, that was during a heavy civil rights movement time and everything. And the fact that he was so boisterous and everything like that, it's like people, they just didn't like him. He was a loud mouth N-word. You know what I'm saying? A different time. But boy, in that ring, it was like watching someone who was painting a Picasso every time he fought. There's nobody like that today. Nobody. Moses ITAUMA, he's a southpaw plodding heavyweight. He has quick hands. He's relatively big. He's grown over the past couple of years because he was 6'2". I think he's now 6'5". He grew a couple of inches because he's only 22 years old. But there is nothing about that young man that has made me say, ooh, sparkle, stardust. You know, nothing. And I've watched heavyweights for a long time. And I don't say that to be like, oh, you just don't like him. No, I'm saying it because when there are fighters who you should look at and say, wow, this, you know, this looks like it could be something very interesting, then you give credit to that. But just because you're hoping and you're getting behind someone because they're from your country or whatever, you're well entitled to do that. But don't be irresponsible in your descriptive manner of acknowledging what their potential may be or whatever. Because at the end of the day, some of these young men, they won't get beyond a certain point. They will not. And you have to pay attention to all of that. It's something that, you know, again, like some people, they don't realize what that is. They don't realize it. And we live in an age now where even, you know, objective criticism and critique, people resent that. You know, if you say, oh, this guy, he could work on this, and oh man, you just don't like him. No, it's like you got a teenage kid and they want to learn to drive. You don't just hand them the keys. You have to teach them to drive. Teach them how to operate a motor vehicle. And even when they're learning that process, you have to take them through the steps and changes of adjustment, because young people are impressionable. They get behind the wheel and they think, oh, I'm driving now, and they want to hit the gas and they want to turn the music up real loud and everything, but they don't know. You got to check your mirrors. You got to judge the distances. You got to anticipate. There's a lot that goes along with it. It's not just getting behind the wheel. I just passed, about a mile ago, I just passed a terrible accident early this morning. Some cars done smashed into each other and ran into parked cars and everything. There's nothing but debris. No people on the scene, no police or anything. So it must have happened just before sunrise. And I guess the folks involved have scattered. But I'm like, you see, they were out here operating a motor vehicle, whether they were inebriated or whether they were just reckless or whatever. But now it's a multiple car situation, and it's changing somebody's life today. Foolishness. And here we are. Moses ITAUMA is not the best since Ali. If they would have said something like, he's the best I've seen since Lennox Lewis, I could even be more accepting of that, because Lennox is more recent than even Ali. But you're going to skip over Lennox, who is well accomplished. The man retired having literally beat virtually every man he faced in the ring, which is every bit as good as being undefeated, because the fights that he lost, he rematched and he won, which is a feat within itself, because it shows that he was able to make adjustments and come back and produce off of having a setback, the ability to overcome. Some of these guys today, they lose a fight and they don't want to run it back. Some of these guys today, they won't even get in the ring with the guy that could possibly threaten their position. So they avoid, and then they just talk mess about him. It's like, you never even saw that man, but you want to say these dirty, dastardly things, but there's nothing that you have to show that you're repping in the proper way. Foolishness. And I don't have to name the names of the guys who are doing that presently, but they're doing it so much that it's like you can't get away from it. Another reason to not want to, even invest in this, to watch the sport. It's like the value has gone down, man. Just like a car depreciates when you drive it off the lot at the dealership. Yeah, you bought it for $30,000. You drive off that lot and go around the corner. That car is now worth $8,000. It's true. The depreciative value drops so much. It's like, it makes your head spin. You're like, wait a minute. I ain't even paid the first car note on it yet. It dropped that much? Yeah, the Blue Book value says. That's the really real world. That's not, glazing and looking with stardust in your eye. But this is what they do. I tell you, man. For a sport that I loved so much, what it's turned into, the participants, and that's the fighters, the promoters, the people who talk about the fight game and everything all in between. It's like, it is so bad now. It's just like boo-boo. Boo-boo everywhere. Yep. Nothing to be proud of. Nothing. And this is what they give you. And it's not going to get any better either. It is not. Not going to get better. Seen and unseen boxing, salute to you. He says, the sensei, STORMYBMAN, salute. And salute to the chat. Yeah, man. So, I come on this morning to talk about that. It's like they want to push something so much that they even speak unrealistically of what you're looking at, the commodity. It's like, you know, we got fights coming up this weekend, right? If you were going to say like, well, Rolly and Tio, oh, what a welterweight fight. The winner of this fight is going to be the best guy in the division. All of that. Really? Not when I've seen other fights like Tommy Hearns against Pepino Cuevas and stuff like that. It's like, how are you going to tell me that this is just going to leapfrog over all of that? Unless it's a real knockdown, drag out where someone was on the verge of being finished off and turn the tables on the other guy and put him in jeopardy, and then he showed some resiliency and they were resisting one another to a point of contention, and then it becomes a battle of will and desire and mental fortitude and all of that. Are you really expecting that from those guys this weekend? If you are, I got some real estate that I want to sell you, huh? It's right out in the middle of Lake Michigan, huh? And I'm going to tell you something. The walk-up front porch and everything is wonderful, huh? There's some moisture, though. But, go ahead and put your $200,000 down and we'll make the deal. Yeah. That's boxing for you. Get out of here with this foolishness, man. Anyway, I've made it to my destination. And I hope that you guys do your thing. I hope that you enjoy the weekend coming up, whatever it is God has for you. Stay blessed. Keep your head above water. Wish and bless others with good fortune. Don't be out here hating on folks. Don't be out here taking people through changes and causing chaos. Don't participate in the foolishness. Lone Star Steph, salute to you. Good morning. You be well as well. God be with you as well. Yep. So, with that, guys, I'm going to get on out of here. I've arrived to my destination, the cotton fields. I got to do my share. I got to do my share. But this has been Stormy B-Man. Stormy B-Man Live. Moses ITAUMA is not the best since Ali. He is not. And don't let these people try to fool you with that guy just because he's coming along over there in the UK. We're going to have something for him in just a little while. We're going to have something for him. And that's going to be that. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. And you guys have a great day. Peace to everybody. I thank you all who tuned in. And I hope that you have a wonderful day.